Okay, cool. So now we're live on Facebook.
We are. I'm gonna double
Okay.
check it, but I think we're
Oh,
live.
wait, I'm gonna go live. There we go. Okay. I think we're live on Facebook now.
Oh, Brett said that it was paused by the moderator, so we should tell Brett how he can find us.
Oh. um,
Recording is on. This meeting is being broadcast on Facebook Live.
oh, okay. So let's see if we can.
Yeah.
I can confirm that we're live on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, okay. Just responded to Brett.
I'm gonna go ahead and add the link so people can find us on Facebook Live. All right, Wendy, you want to kick it off? I'm having a.
Yeah, okay, so let's get started. So after a bit of technical difficulties, we're finally ready to go. So for those of you who are joining into Facebook Live, sorry about that. We kind of had a bit of a mix up with the new software, but we are good to go and we have a lot of exciting content to cover today. So I guess like a little bit about our team right now. So right now it's myself, Wendy, Monica, as well as Matheus. I'll let the two of them introduce themselves, but for me, I work on the community team with the both of them, and I mainly do kind of social media and then content. And for those of you who are one of our heroes, we would have talked on Slack. So that's who I am. Matheus, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Matheus. I work here in Brazil, São Paulo, and I'm a community ambassador here in Brazil. I've been a photographer also for like 6 years now. And if you are from Brazil and you are already talking to Pexels on Instagram or somewhere, that's probably me. So, hi.
All right, I think that leaves me. So hello, everybody. I'm Monica. I've been with Pexels for almost a year and a half. It's been an amazing and memorable journey so far. I'm also with the community team, obviously joined by Wendy, Mateos, and there's another small group of us that are not on the call, but we represent all of the folks in community from Pexels. So we're excited to talk to everyone listening in today, and we're going to record this as well, so it'll be available in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, so I guess this is our very first webinar of the year, which is super exciting. I know Monica did one last year, so it's great to kind of have one again and be able to kind of share some info with you guys, like face to face and, well, screen to screen, and talk about some of the cool things we're doing. So the purpose of this webinar is kind of talking about how to use Pexels as a tool to kind of elevate your work and use your work to get other opportunities, whether that's paid or just other forms of compensation and get you noticed as a photographer and kind of grow your skills. So for those of you who are on our Slack or have seen our Instagram stories, I'm just going to quickly go over the agenda so we know what we're going through. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, perfect. So can you guys see the agenda right there? Maybe we can get Monica to confirm.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna start with kind of going over like the tips and tricks on how to get your photos noticed by brands on Pexels, and then going into how once you get approached by a brand, what happens now. I'll kind of be going through this as sort of a case study of my personal experience, because I know like when I got approached, I had no idea what I was doing, but coming out of it, I have a few kind of tips that I can share that I think might be helpful for those of you who might be in the same situation. Moving forward, we'll be getting Mateos to talk about some of his stories and how he's found success through Pexels, and there's a really cool story about one of his photos that went viral, but I'm going to get him to tell that a little bit later on. Um, and just hearing like how people are able to kind of get their work noticed and really use Pexels to leverage their own existing work. And then I'm going to just briefly go over some of the trends to look for, especially in this day, in like in 2019, and stuff that you can maybe even incorporate into your own work. And last but not least, we'll be going over some of the ways that we plan on kind of improving Pexels and facilitating this way of having better communication with you and the brands and people, or even people who just want to hire you to do certain projects. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to message us on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll be able to get back to you that way. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to this. Awesome. Okay, so I guess we're going to start with how to get noticed by brands. And especially in this day and age, there's so much content out there, especially with like Instagram and all these different social media networks. It can feel kind of intimidating being noticed amidst everyone else. So personally, one of the things that I find that was really helpful is consistency. So starting with Pexels, I started last May, so it's been a little bit less than a year. I only started posting like a few photos, and obviously that didn't really get enough traction. And it wasn't until I started looking through my archives and finding photos that were just sitting there, not really putting any use into them, I decided to upload them on Pexels. And once I started doing that regularly, I started seeing my own statistics go up. And that was really new to me because I guess those of you who have used Pexels, like the stats are kind of intimidating. You see like thousands and then hundreds of thousands and millions of views, and you're like, who's actually looking at this? But believe it or not, it is usually an actual person on the other end who is appreciating your art. And like I said, it wasn't until I consistently started posting photos that I started kind of seeing the numbers go up, and because of that led to one of the brands reaching out to me, which I'll get further into a little bit later on. Photos that are commonly found are like portraits and lifestyles and products, and obviously. So what really helps is kind of finding unique ways to approach these types of photography, or even finding your own sort of niche. So for me, I guess, I'm going to show you guys the photo actually that one of the brands reached out to me for. I'm going to share my screen again. And this one's it. So this is my Pexels profile. This one was actually a photo that I shot at a music festival that I was working for over the summer. And it's really funny because this music festival, I didn't actually get paid that much. It was only like sort of an honorarium, but I really wanted to go and have the experience. So for me, financially, just actually physically working that festival didn't bring too many like financial benefits, but it's really crazy to think that something that I just left to sit in one of my folders on my computer ended up being one of my most successful photos. And I'll get into a little bit of my story a little bit later on, but this kind of just gives you an idea of maybe trying to find a different way to approach things. So everybody else, if you look at, I don't know if for those of you who've been to concerts or music festivals, every photographer wants to get to the very front, obviously, to be closer to the act. But for me, in this case, I thought, okay, like everyone has photos of the artist, or at least all the photographers. So what if I just like stand back and get a photo of the confetti once and the fire once they started bringing those out. So it took a couple hundred photos, believe it or not, just holding my shutter to get this perfect photo. But it's an example of a way that you can kind of think outside the box and do something differently that'll get yourself noticed. How do I get back here? Okay, awesome. Another way is to make yourself easy to find and have a good brand image. So for me, I guess I don't really have necessarily, like freelance isn't my full-time thing, it's just something I do for fun. I don't really consider myself a brand at all, or like a professional photographer really, but even if you don't have a brand, it's important to carry yourself like one. So for me, it was really funny because this brand that reached out to me, they actually went through Pexels to find my Instagram, and they messaged me on Instagram. I didn't end up seeing that, and they went through Instagram to find my website, and through my website to find my email. So that was on my part, wasn't very smart, because I should have made it easy for brands to contact me and just have everything there already. So having all your information out in an organized fashion does help, and that's something you can take from my experience and kind of make it better for yourself. And to be honest, when I got the email, I didn't think it was real at first. I actually almost deleted it. But it wasn't until I actually Googled the person that contacted me. I was like, oh, shoot, this is actually real. And the last thing I want to point out is that you don't really need a massive following. Good, consistent content is what you really need to kind of fulfill like a clean brand image. It doesn't necessarily mean you have like hundreds of thousands of followers. And stay true to your own image and style. So for me, I know something that I do is very niche, and not many people do it. And there's so many different times I considered going into something more mainstream or something like get more traction. But then I realized, okay, what if I just stay in my own craft and try to perfect it and make it my own? And I feel like that was the most effective. So
Hey,
just to give you an
Wendy,
idea, yep.
can I ask a question? You mentioned that the personal brand piece is really important. I don't actually have a personal website. I'm guessing you do, because obviously you said that's where they message you. Could you share that with us? Like, could we see what your website looks like?
Yeah, for sure. So, let's share my screen again. So, something I was going to mention later on, but I guess since we're on this topic, just having like a good brand image. So one way to do that is obviously the website. So let me go to that first. So I actually have it pulled up because I was going to show this image, but I'll get
Oh,
to
wow, I
what
love
this
that.
is a little bit later on. But this is my website, kind of it's super simple. Like I made it on Squarespace, and it just kind of has some of my favorite photos that I've taken. And the most important thing with a portfolio is to not upload like every single photo that you've taken. It's more or less like the best and your favorite ones. Because if someone's looking to use your photos, they don't have time to go through like hundreds of photos, and they just kind of want to see your highlight reel. And it's important to kind of have like information and contact, and yeah, just something super clean. Doesn't have to be fancy. I made this one in like just under an hour. And for those of you who like don't want to pay for a website, a great way to do that is your Pexels profile. So if you have one, it's kind of like a free website. You can send it to companies, because I know website not everyone wants to pay for it, and it might like the free trials sometimes aren't the best. So you can even use your Pexels profile. So for example, if I go to my own, there is a lot of photos, but it's super easy to kind of pick and choose and like send certain links of your favorite photos, and it just serves kind of like a portfolio for people who don't have one. Where were we? Yeah, so I guess that ties perfectly into what I was going to say next. Don't be afraid to reach out to other companies too. Like you don't have to sit around and wait for them to come to you. If there's someone that you really want to work with, something that I do is I created an electronic media kit. So what that is I kind of, so for me as a music photographer, I work with a bunch of artists who have sort of media kits where they kind of have like a one sheet that highlights some of their experience and their best work. And it's super easy to kind of make one online, whether on Photoshop or any other template that you use, and link to your Pexels profile so they can access your work super easily. And I also have like these notes, which is why I'm kind of flipping right here. Yeah, so I guess now we'll move on to what happens when a brand approaches you. So like I said, when the brand that approached me kind of actually got a hold of me, I didn't think it was real, and it was kind of confusing because I was like, whoa, how did they get my information? Um, the one thing you need to do is communicate professionally. So even if you something that's but it's hard to carry yourself like a brand, and sort of like the saying, like fake it till you make it, but like obviously don't be fake, but just kind of like carry yourself as someone who knows what they're doing. Because I know for me, I was super confused. I had no idea what I was doing, but the most important thing is to make it seem like you are. Another thing to keep in mind is to accept that nothing is really set in stone and things might not turn out the way you expect, but keep an open mind, and brands are usually open to discussion. So, for example, when I was going to show on my website, I'm just going to share my screen one more time on my main page. So, the first photo I showed was, I think it was like one of my this one. This one was the initial one that they reached out to me for, but this one was not actually the one that they ended up exclusive licensing. So that's what they were reaching out to me for. They wanted to exclusive license one of my photos, which means like it would have to be taken down from stock image sites, and they would have the rights to it. And after talking, I realized, oh, this is downloaded almost 14,000 times. I can't guarantee that no one else is going to use it. And my first instinct was, okay, there it goes. Like I just lost this kind of brand deal. But like I said, brands are super open to kind of discussing and figuring out a way that makes it a win-win for both parties. And after a bunch of discussion, kind of going back and forth, it was this photo that they ended up liking. So they saw my concert photos, and I actually dug this one up from one of my archives that wasn't actually used. So they were able to agree upon this one, and then both of us would agree on an amount, and that was it. So yeah, like don't be afraid to ask for what you want, and keep an open mind. And the one thing that I didn't know going in was to, oh, I can stop sharing this screen, is to be cognizant of valuing yourself. So when they asked for my rate, I had no idea how exclusive licensing worked, how much was a good amount, and like what was the normal rate for this kind of stuff. And the thing that's kind of difficult for the creative industry is there isn't a set number. It's not like you get like a set salary or what's like the average amount. It really depends on the situation. So what I did was I went into photography forums and kind of posted roughly, oh, this is like a Fortune 500 company. They want this, and this was like, and then I discussed the terms, and then some other photographers gave kind of their experience. And what other people say can only serve as a guideline. You still have to factor in your effort and what you kind of put out there to make this photo a real thing. And what my mom told me, which is really good to know, was that your photography is a piece of art. So if you go to an art gallery, you see all these photos that are selling for like $50,000. I didn't sell my $50,000, but you see all these pieces of artwork that are worth so much because, oh, they took so long to create. Your photography is the same thing. It is a piece of art, and it is an expression of yourself and something distinct to you. So don't undervalue yourself just because, oh, it's just like one shutter that took 1 second. Another thing that I noticed, or it's something that I learned from one of the photographers that I follow on Instagram, something like they posted was that they're not paying you for the they're not paying you for the minutes or seconds it took you to take the photos. They're paying you for the years. So the years that took you to master this craft and be able to kind of execute the photo that you took, that's what they're paying for. It's not just the 1 second that it took you to press the shutter. So don't evaluate yourself, but also be open to kind of discussion and working out a win-win situation with the brand. Yeah, so I guess that's the kind of timeline of what happened with me after being reached out to the brand. I think Matheus has like a different story of how he was approached by different brands and different opportunities. So I'm going to pass it on to him to kind of talk about some of his stories.
Okay, so pretty much I met Pexels on Instagram one of these days. I think it's almost 2 years now. And I just found a stock image website that I don't know, I could post my pictures and people all over the world can download them and use it for free. So I was okay, let's upload those images to the website. And I went to sleep, and next day I woke up with like my stats just like rocket, like it was awesome. My stats went to 100 views, and I started with so many downloads, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? I just took these pictures with models that I don't have a licensing and just put to a stock image website. And now I'm getting issued, like I'm having trouble with law, and oh my god. And after that, I started to talk to the models, explaining what was happening. And day after day, my stats starts to grow and grow and grow day after day. So I'm not able to share my screen here, so I'm going to ask Wendy, please, can you share from the last one to the first image? We have some pictures of mine that, yeah. Can you please put on the girl with the fairy lights? The last one. Mm, the next one. Yeah, this one. So this image has like, I don't know, she's the number one on my Pexels profile. And this image, if you do a reverse search on Google, you can see it is used like websites, enormous websites. There are flip-flops, there are banners, shops, and mugs, and mouse pads, and everything is using my picture. So that was so crazy for me, so different because I never had that exposure. And I have a huge amount of followers on Instagram, and everyone was like, "Oh, I saw one of your pictures on this website. They are using it for free. They are not having the they don't have the permission to use your image, so you get to issue then." And and pretty much this picture is the number one on my Pexels profile. And the next one is the girl with the umbrella. This picture has a funny story behind it, because me and my friend, we woke up like 3 in the morning to do this picture, and we drove to a huge mountain that we have here in Brazil, and we waited to the sunrise, and we took so many pictures that day. And this one was the highlight. The one that I liked it the most. And we have a bank, a company here in Brazil called Caixa. And one of these days, Caixa reached out to me on my Pexels profile. They just found my Instagram username and sent me a DM asking, "Hey, can we post our picture? Like we know that it is on a free stock website, but we want to pay you to post the picture on our Instagram." And I was like, okay. So almost the same thing happened. Wendy was talking about the price, because I work as a photographer, as a portrait photographer, and I don't know how much can I charge for a photo. Like I have friends that have sold their pictures for like $1,000, and there's friends of mine who sells their pictures for like $20. So yeah, and I started to message some friends asking they, what do I do now? What can I do? How much do I charge the company? And what happens is that the company just put the price for me, and I was like, okay, just for me it's fine. And yeah, pretty much this picture has it's on their Instagram now. And that was the first time that I received a lot of money for one of my pictures, like for just one. And moving forward, we have the third image, which is the Ginger girl. This picture also, like on my Pexels profile, it is a huge stats on my Pexels profile. This picture was like about for there's a girl here in Brazil who works with design, and this girl downloaded my picture. He was participating on a challenge on her high school. I don't know, but she downloaded the image and like changed some things and on the girl, and he won the challenge, and my picture ended up on the São Paulo subway. And everyone who was passing on the subway was like taking pictures in the front of the picture and saying, "Hey, are you on subway? Oh my God, your picture is like huge on subway." Everyone is saying it, and it was a fun experience for me too, for this picture, because saying that again, on these opportunities don't just bring you money. I was not paid for this image to be on the subway, but like you get recognized by your public. Like here in São Paulo, where do I live, we have the community of photographers here. They are very united. Like they talk to you on Instagram, and everyone's friends. but this image was like one of the my favorites ever on my career, and it was on Pexels, and the girl downloaded it and used it on the subway, and I don't got paid for that, but everyone knows now my Instagram, and hey, I saw you or your work on subway, and I want to, pay you to do a photo shoot for me, things like that. So those experiences, I think, it is interesting for you not think about the money. Of course, on Pexels you have the PayPal integration, which you can, receive donations. And I received a lot of donations. There was a French writer who wanted to buy one of my pictures, the first one, the girl with the fairy lights, and almost the same thing as Wendy said. I wasn't, no, I didn't know how much could I charge it, and the guy, okay, I will transfer to you $100, so that's fine. And I was like, okay, but it is on a free website again. And the guy, no, I will pay. So those kind of experience help you to grow your business, helps you to grow as a person, like a photographer, and you get to know people, get to know you, and start to reach out to you to work, do something. Because one of the things that I learned on Pexels is that companies want to use pictures. Like, nowadays, every post, every blog, every article, you need a picture, a photo to call the attention of the viewer. So the brand does want to, they don't want to pay a photographer and the model and the location and everything to get a specific picture. So it is easy for them to just find the stock image website and download it and give a photographer like $5 or $10 or whatever. So those kind of experiences helps you a lot, and you don't have to think about money and money and money and money every time. Just as me, I was having just like so many pictures on my computer, and I just started uploading them to the website, to Pexels, and it started to grow and grow every day. And again, this is one of the most cool websites for you to expose your images. You don't have a website for you. Like, I have a website for me, and I work with Instagram, but Pexels brings you the opportunity to brands reach out to you more easily. Like, brands already use Pexels to get images, to download images to their own websites and posts and things like that. So if they find your profile and you have a good amount of good pictures, you can download it. They download it and can find you through Instagram and send you a message, and you guys start working together. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Um, Monica, you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say soon we'll have I mean, this is like a hot tip, but soon we'll have a messaging feature. So, well, maybe. I mean, I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. We have to be nice to our development team, but, we've been asking for something like this, which I think would make it really cool for brands and even individuals to reach out to our photographers, because it's not just brands. I think that's important to say. I've heard so many stories from Pexels photographers that I've met in real life. There was one person I met in Toronto recently who was explaining to me that somebody fell in love with her images and asked her if he could buy all of them. And because they were all on Pexels, she explained that, well, these images are already available for free, and they've been used by so many different people that perhaps I can do something customized for you. And he loved the idea and then hired her to do a custom photo shoot based on the inspiration from her Pexels profile. So it's even just some, photography fans that might fall in love with the way a photographer takes photos that might inspire them to want to do a custom shoot, a wedding shoot, whatever it might be. So yeah, I think it's just both brands and individuals that'll be reaching out to some of the top photographers on Pexels.
Yeah, and what's important to know, I think, from Matheus' story as well, is that a lot of the times with Pexels, especially like for the both of us, the image that we upload, we didn't really expect anything to happen. We kind of they were just kind of there, and we already had them, and they're just sitting around, and they would have otherwise were just like stayed in a folder on our computer for who knows how long. But being able to kind of put it out there and having someone to be able to like use it is even like a super good feeling for yourself. And there are, like Matea said, there are brands that are looking at Pexels already, and I've honestly, like, I pay hundreds of dollars for my own website, and I don't think, or like, I haven't really gotten as big of a deal that I had as just someone who stumbled across one of my photos that I uploaded for free on Pexels. Um, it really is a great opportunity to get your work noticed, and the more consistently that you put it up there, the more chance that you have for these brands to reach out to you. That's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing, Matthias. It's cool to kind of have different ways that the photographers have been reached out to on Pexels. And there also are a lot of other different stories from our heroes that hopefully we could share later on as well. So I guess wrapping up everything. I just wanted to quickly go over some of the photo and design trends that have been, personally, I've been noticing, and as well as some stuff that I've researched that have been super popular. I know one of them is authenticity. So in an era where there's so much like fake news, authenticity is something that our brands are looking for now. So more representation, diversity, and just kind of more natural looking images, as you can see on Pexels. It's also really easy to notice trends by like going on our homepage. Our curators work really hard to make sure that our homepage represents kind of the best of the best photos, and it's really interesting to see which photos are getting the most traction in terms of stats and everything. So that's something I personally do whenever I need inspiration of what to shoot. I always go on the Pexels homepage and look for a certain trend and what kinds of photos that are doing super well. Digitaltrends.com is also a site that I use that has different articles of they upload it quite frequently of different trends that are going on, and I like to go on that one. And in general, the ones that I've noticed are neon and retro vibes are coming back. So they say like what's old is new again. So there's an influx of the film look. You probably noticed like a bunch of apps. A lot of people are kind of going and buying film cameras now and kind of replicating that look. Personally, I am a huge fan of film cameras, and my parents always like make fun of me. It's like, why would you go and buy old photos or like these like old analog types of photography when you already have like such a expensive digital camera? But like I said, it's like a trend, so hopefully it'll stay because I really enjoy the process of shooting film. And not only the film look, but also different patterns and like the whole vibe of like kind of the 80s and 90s are coming back. So something that I also look at are like fashion magazines and also kind of fashion brands. So stuff like leopard print and like snakeskin and all of those kinds of things, you notice that are coming back, and it's something that you can take note of and incorporate into your own photography. And also, I guess the last thing I want to point out is like kind of like the romantic era of kind of Renaissance like paintings. That's something that's also been noticing coming back, and I've seen on Pexels a lot of the photos. You can see that they're kind of photography, but like representing sort of different aspects of these like, kind of old paintings. But like I said, there's a bunch of stuff you can look up and try to kind of keep yourself updated with what's in demand right now in order to kind of cater your photos to, but kind of add your own twist to it. And I guess moving on to our very last topic is about how we can improve from our end to bring you guys better opportunities. So I guess Monica kind of covered it a little bit before, but it was kind of implementing a messaging feature so to facilitate the communication between photographers and either like potential clients or people who are just fans of photography, and working together to create something even bigger. So it's not like going through like Instagram and then email and then website and that sort of thing. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of streamline that sort of thing. And we also love hearing from the users. So obviously for our team, like we do as much as we can, but it's not possible to kind of notice every little thing. And our heroes have been really great about that, kind of bringing on new ideas. But we're also open to ideas of our users. So if you guys have any suggestions or ways that you think that we can help facilitate this discussion and help bring you more work from your photography, feel free to email us or message us on Instagram or Facebook, because we love hearing about that as well. So I know this is getting kind of long, so I appreciate everybody who's kind of stuck along with us. If you weren't able to, or for those of you who want to kind of go back and like hear some of our tips, we'll be recording this and uploading on our YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that. Or if you have friends or people that you know who might benefit from this, who aren't able to make it tonight, be sure to direct them there. If you have any questions or comments, as always, you can message anyone from our team or reach out through our social handles, and we'd love to help you out. So again, thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday night for me. I know we have a global community. It might be good morning or good afternoon. But yeah, we hope to do more of these in the future. Let us know if this is helpful at all. But yeah.
Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Matheus.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys, everyone who joined the live stream. Thank you so much. As Wendy said, reach out to us on Instagram or email and send us suggestions. We love to hear you guys. What are your thoughts? You have suggestions or something? Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.